Hello and welcome to Startup Rainmakers, Business Startup Rainmakers. With my name's Ken Bryant,
Jerry Mudd.
and the purpose here is just to really kind of talk to folks about what it takes to have a startup and what it's all entailed into running and getting going and running your business, a small business. I just to give you a little bit of history. I am a business owner here in Louisville, Kentucky. This name of our business here, Humber Building Services, on the wall there. We do erosion control. We've owned the business for 18 years. We purchased it through our family, and this is our 30th year in business. So, and I had previous experience in other manufacturing and retail sales. So I just want to let Jerry give you an update, kind of fill you in with his history.
Yeah, I'm Jerry Bryant, local score mentor, 17 years, volunteer work, helping people get started in business, and people have an existing business and they're troubled with something. I help them along with that. My background is entrepreneurial. Owned several businesses in my lifetime. Primarily and was corporate CEO and president of several companies throughout the United States. Background basically in retail, footwear, clothing, jewelry, men's and women's clothing, all types of footwear, branded, non-branded, makeup, etc. And background as far as retail stores, physical stores, and also Amazon, eBay, Etsy, etc.
So today we're going to talk about things to know when starting a business. The first area of topic is talk is cheap. That whatever you're doing has to be actionable. You got to get things done. In a business, you have to be a problem solver. And I'm going to let Jerry elaborate a little bit of his experience in that, and we'll just kind of go down through the list.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Basically, if you want to start a business, the first thing I suggest is lay down, take 2 aspirin. So, most people don't listen, but in a way, it's true. My experience in starting a business generally starts with younger people, 12, 14, 15, 16 years old. I'm talking about from the entrepreneurial spirit. This type of person, it's ingrained in them. They want to create something. They really, and as time goes on, the things that they start from an entrepreneurial startup business or attempt, they have exactly no knowledge, but they have a deep desire. And money never comes into the picture. It's just a deep desire to create and get something rolling. And it's I would call it basically a good business obsession. And they learn as they go. They're willing to work around the clock. That doesn't mean 12 hours a day, but it's a nonstop thing. But that entrepreneurial person, be it a young man or a young woman, or generally starts at a very early age, and they just have the extreme desire to create and fulfill. And they also have something that, not in a negative way, but they really want to call it their own, and they don't always take direction clearly from other people, and they don't really recognize it, but that is a driving force. Now, there's all kinds of entrepreneurial. I'm giving you my experience, but entrepreneurial people just have an extreme drive. They know what they want. If that doesn't work, they're going to go on to the next thing. And like I always tell them, one door closes, another door opens. And they're generally high intelligent people, willing to work for what they want to get done. And it always folds from what they started into something else. And, from a experience standpoint, they may work 3 or 4 what I call startup businesses, be how small it is, and they are all small. Your garage, I started my basement, started my garage. Some of that's a little bit of a myth, but a lot of it's true. So these people, if they, and they're not real focused people as a general rule. Again, not from a negative standpoint. I say it from a quality standpoint. They got to get things done. There's not enough hours in the day to complete. And if for some reason they burn out on this, they will automatically pick it up and do something else. So that's a quick take on being an entrepreneurial person. What I supply in that is to get this person and try to depict what they're attempting to do, which is not always easy because generally the entrepreneurial person I mentioned, 14, 15, 16, most of them are 25 and under that I've worked with, the true entrepreneurial startup person. And they don't know exactly what they want, they just feel what they want. So it takes time and effort, and with my background and experience, because I was kind of in that game myself, start off like that, entrepreneurial, you have to know what questions to ask and to pick it out of that person. And kind of like you got a canvas and you're starting with the painting, and you kind of have to take it, a step at a time to build that canvas. And then the quick fast forward a little bit, not to over elaborate on that, once the business gets going up, they never really focus on the number 1, number 2, and number 3 thing is, where am I going to get the client, customer, or the revenue? That is never in an entrepreneurial's mind. They don't think that way. And not even, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. I work with adults that are starting a business or have an idea or have a business, and somehow revenue doesn't exist. They just think the customer's going to drop out of the sky, which is never happens. So that's something that we talk about, we elaborate. How much is the cost? Where are you going to get the inventory? And most of all, where's the customer going from?
Okay. Just to elaborate on some of that quickly, I don't know about your experiences, Jerry, but I, at an early age, knew I wanted to be involved in business, own a business, be an entrepreneur. I knew at an early age, and even when I was working for someone else, I was still trying to treat that as an experience to get me to that point. Was that some of what your experiences were as a young man?
Not really. My personal experience was a little different because I started in my formal business when I was 14. 16 years old, I'm working full-time for a large corporation. Not necessarily by choice, but by chance. But it gave me an opportunity. The company I worked for was a very entrepreneurial company, although they were a big company. And the one thing that I learned, if you can ring the register, they love you. And I was willing to work hard and willing to listen, and it gave me an opportunity that I probably wouldn't have got with not a lot of experience. And let me back up on the entrepreneurial. Most entrepreneurials, a lot don't finish high school, and I'd say probably 75-80% of them are not college people. They don't like college, they don't fit into college, but they love the idea of creating and working and doing something on their own.
All right. What are some of the traits you believe entrepreneurial has that others might not?
Well, I can tell you what they need. I don't know if they have traits. Some of them are character defects, but you look at them. But in the fact that they have a deep desire that nobody put that desire there except themselves. Why it's there, I can't answer. It's a God-given thing. But they have a deep desire to create, a deep desire to be recognized, and a deep desire to keep going and going and going. And they're never satisfied. And it's never, in my experience, it's never been about the money. And eventually, to sidestep that a little bit, I always, eventually they need money or they need this and that. And I always tell them, don't worry about the money. The money always comes. Do the job and do what you love, and the money will follow.
All right, let's move on to another one here. Nobody cares about your business more than you do. And I would tend to agree with that. I mean, because it's your baby. If you created this thing from inception and you put all the extra time and effort in there, I kind of believe that is true.
I agree to a degree, and I absolutely don't agree on the other part. The part I agree is, yes, you're going to be the most dedicated person. Back early on in my corporate business that I was working and growing up through the ranks, I thought everybody worked as hard as me. And that's not true. It wasn't true then, but I thought it was. But the very fact that other people don't care about your business, I choose to look at it this way. For every McDonald's, there's a Burger King, Burger Chef, White Castle, and all these people started with the guy that had the entrepreneurial thought. They learned from that person. A lot of them stayed, and they were very corporate-minded, hardworking business people. But a lot of them left and created offshoots from that. So to answer, yes, you can get extreme loyalty and hardworking people with the right culture. And the word culture in today's world, the best of companies don't really understand it. It's kind of like an old school thing, which we could talk about in another podcast, but having a culture of a company is what drives the company. Because eventually, what the owner of the company will outgrow this person. And I was always taught, which was easy for me, I always hire people that are smarter than you. Well, I didn't have to go very far. But I had dedication, honesty, hard work, and I believed in people. And basically, I had what I call a God-given right to help develop people. And the deeper interest I took in the person, the better the person turned out.
Okay. You don't need money to start. You are the business at the beginning. It starts with you. You're going to wear many hats. And I remember starting this thing and did sales, did operations, did work. I mean, so in the beginning when we started, it was just 4 guys working in the field, me trying to get sales done, doing a schedule, talking to customers, my wife taking care of the books and that kind of thing. So, and obviously we've grown since then. But what do you think about that, Jerry?
Well, your first statement was you don't need money. Certain part of that is true. If I look, there's several answers to that, and I always say there's no rights or wrongs. But if you work for a corporation and you want to go out and start a business, you have some vendor relations that you might be able to get them to jumpstart you in product or inventory to help you run your business. If you're a younger 16, 18-year-old kid, 20 years old, 21 years old, a lot of them start buying stuff for Salvation Army. They're buying a little bit of here on eBay or that. They're flipping it with, the word you buy low and you sell it off. They may be selling it international or may be selling domestic, depending on what website they're attempting to sell it on. But it does, you've got to start someplace. And it could be as little as $1,000. It could be, but honestly speaking, there is some money. It could be 5,000. But, or it could be in some cases, maybe somebody has the whereabouts to get 10, 15,000. But money is never the issue in starting a business or maintaining the business. And I've always said, not in the businesses that I've owned, but businesses where people, they thought the cure, once they got the business up and going, they needed more money. And money can work very much against you when you borrow it, because it's like a charge card. You're going to find how much you can charge that up, and you're not going to respect the value of what you're purchasing with a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 line of credit or something. It gets a little sloppy. So it's better to chase and create the business in a different way. Now, eventually, as the business matures, you get other people involved, and maybe a financial or accountant or a CPA or somebody that understands the books better. But entrepreneurial people aren't basically sitting down and doing accounting procedures. So they're always swinging it on a wing and a hole. So, some of these questions are broad statement questions. I'm just giving you my basis of my experience.
Okay. Another one here. Be ready to make sacrifices. Now you're working 12 to 16 hours a day, zero social life, losing sleep. I remember starting this thing, and it seemed like all I did was work. And then I ran into somebody I used to work with in a previous business, and the first question they asked was, how many hours a week do you work? And I didn't have an answer, because I told myself, I'm working all the time. I might not be working in the field, but I'm in back thinking, you end up dreaming about the stuff you need to be doing. So your mind's always occupied, especially in a startup, because you're just trying to get to the next week. I constantly was always thinking this, trying to think that, I have a plan, but sometimes plans don't go with a plan. You gotta be flexible. So that was my experience.
Basically, quick answer is it's an obsession. And there could be some good obsessions and bad obsessions, but an entrepreneurial person doesn't really look at the time. They look at when they get to that step, they're already thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead. So it's not the same as I work for Joe Blow. Got to put in 8 hours. They don't look at it that way, and they time it. This is like playing golf every day.
Yeah, and I just always looked at it. I'm getting stuff done. I got to get this done. I'm on to the next problem. I got to get that done. Okay, I have another one here. Building smart from the beginning. Number one, it doesn't have a demand ceiling. As you grow, you will always have customers. Every part of your business is replaceable. To begin, the business can survive if an employee leaves or you lose a supplier. Number 3 here, business can scale. And then number 4, clear direction. You need a clear direction for the business, which would be a vision or a mission, and have a plan for that.
Ask the first question.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have a demand ceiling. As you grow, you will always have customers.
I don't have a quick answer for that, but I would say it's more of a vision answer. The entrepreneurial person has an idea, and that idea unfolds. There was something about making right decisions. I think that's what you said. Entrepreneurially, this person, out of 10 things done, which they have the capability of doing 50 things a day, 100 things a day, 90% of what they do is not going to be correct. And there is the value of learning. What they know, they're not learning. What they don't know is a whole door of opening learning. But their growth is all about making and trying and making what normal people would say a mistake. They're not afraid of making mistakes. They will just pick the ball and bat up and hit it again, or attempt to hit it. So it's not about what they know. Their growth comes in what they don't know, like a lot of things.
Okay, here's people should free up your time so you can focus on your strengths. Most common mistake, the building a smart business, and then this thing you want to do is start a smart business and then turn it over to someone else to run. Focus should be on business growth. This one took a while for me to get. Jerry's helped me with this one here because I was like, everything was running through me, and I had to run everything, be in control of everything, and I was holding the business back and putting everybody else at risk. If something happened to me, what these other folks that were working for me, they're counting on me, and I. So as time's going on, I try to use the 20-80 rule. I should be working in the business on a regular basis maybe 20% of the time, and 80% of the time I'll be worked on other business opportunities. So you want to tell everybody how you're right on that one?
Well, I don't like the word right, but my experience, good, bad, and indifferent, some positive, some negative, is fortunately I had some good mentors, and I listened to people because I never thought I was very smart. And one of the things that I learned is you're going to get your business to a certain point where there's not enough time, hours in your business, you're going to not be smart enough to run your business because the things that need to be done in the business, after the sale business and advertising or multiplying yourself through the company, you may not have that, and you'll, what we call it, hit the wall. And you've got to learn, again, back to what I said previously, is that I was fortunate. I was always hired people that are smarter than you, honest, be willing, teach them your culture, that's your job, and let them do the work and never blame them for being wrong. And I learned from that, and it wasn't hard for me to hire people smarter than me. It was very easy. But I trusted them, and I never blamed them if they were wrong. That was I learned that I didn't have it. I learned it from people that they learned from. And these guys were guys, most of them were men, were experienced in that. And then they also said, which is very important, you're going to get to a point, you better learn how to work on the business instead of in the business. And that's a mouthful, but that means, in layman's terms, you're just kicking that business over to your employees. You're giving them goals and incentivizing them, and you're letting them play, and you review it, you follow up with them, but they're responsible.
Okay, that's excellent. The other one here, this we talk a little bit about here. Fail fast and adapt quickly. Be ready for things not to go as planned. Rethink what failure is and keep moving the ball down the field. And, I can't, and this is what I talked about this today in a staff meeting, is, it's okay to fail. it's, we don't want the same mistake time after time, but you learn by your mistakes. As you tend to fail, you tend to get better. And the most important thing is to know, hey, no plan they come up with is always going to go seamless. There's always going to be adjustments that need to be made, and that you got to rethink what failure really is. You might have lost the battle trying to win the war. And I just want to, I tell my guys, let's just keep let's go the wheel of momentum going. Let's just keep moving it and pushing it and grinding hard every day to kind of keep it and spin that little continuous improvement all the time, and just keep getting that feeling. It's amazing how much you can get done if you take that mindset. It's kind of what you have been talking about earlier.
Yes, eliminate the word failure. I screwed up. It didn't go as planned. I never liked somebody to tell me that I failed, because I could do that myself. So the word failure, I don't like. A lot of business people use the word failure. This is the way you do it, and you failed, or we failed, or this. I even had an ex-partner. He said, "Failure is not an option." Well, we went back. We went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So, but to him, so I don't like the word failure. It's a choice word that I like the word. It didn't work out. Let's move on. And previously, like I said, you're not going to learn anything from what you know. You learn from what you don't know.
Good point. Here's one. The right mentor is worth 10 years of struggles. There's always nuggets of gold there, and Jerry has helped me in immense ways to kind of get past all that stuff. And I agree. I mean, this guy's made me a lot smarter and a lot more successful just from all his pearls of wisdom. Do you want to take a bow?
Sure. First of all, use the word 10. You say 10 years of experience. I'd put it at about 17 years. So take it from there. So that's my quick answer.
Okay. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going, really. Don't cheat the game because it's hard. No, there's no shortcuts in this. You have to lay the foundation, and it's part of what you're talking about, the culture, making sure you get the right culture in here and the right folks in here that are smarter than you and whatever you're doing are going to be better than you. And I'm a big proponent on it. Not always had these folks to say, "Oh, you need to, you're really strong in this area, but you really got to get better in this area." Well, that area might not be something that's a gift to you. I'd rather put more energy in the thing that you're really good at. And you can always hire somebody to do the other stuff. I mean, and work on that area. That's my kind of way I look at that.
As an individual, you feed the person that feeds you, and where their strength is, you keep feeding that strength. The other weaknesses will rise with that.
Here's one you'll love. Sales solve all of your problems. If you're not growing, you're dying. Sales. Remember, the sales are the fuel is to a car, to your business. Without us, a sales guy years ago he told me, he says, nothing begins with a sale and ends with a sale.
I call it the last 3 feet. Sales is what drives your business, and that's where entrepreneurial, existing business, and startup business, 90% of the focus should be on what I call ringing the register, the last 3 feet. Most people don't understand that and don't focus on that. There are other ways to get there, but the focus is, how do I make the sale? Without the sale, it's not what came first, the chicken or egg. You need to sell. Now, sales keep you up and running, but you can also, and I've been in a business and owned a business where it got so tight that what I did was trade dollars. I was like making a lot of sales, but my margins were low and my expenses were high, and I was breaking even and sometimes losing funds. So, but yes, the main thing is you have to focus on sales. Business people, entrepreneurial people, in a lot of instances, don't put the focus. They put more of the focus on various things, but not enough on sales.
Okay, how about this one here? A business without an end game is headed to nowhere. Just a few questions on that is when do you know when you made it? Why are you building this? What is the goal of the company? Will this business be sold at some point? You need a game plan. All your actions that you put forward should align with your goal.
A good question, and I never had an end game because I couldn't have an end because I was always, stretching and working and hope there never was an end. But I've owned several businesses, and sometimes by osmosis, competition, Amazon, freight costs, etc., lack of product at the right price, you can work yourself out of the business. What I learned from that, and I was in that business a couple of times, where I just burnt up the business and didn't have the revenue and the mentality to advance that further. Later on, as recently as 10, 12 years ago, I learned the word bolt-on. And I knew that my business would mature. 3 to 5 years, the business is on fire, you're moving, etc., and you can't spend the money fast enough. Eventually that catch up too. But first 5 years, if you've got the business going, your business is rolling, big increases. But it will mature. What I learned now, and what I would suggest, is what we call bolt-ons, and that's parallel businesses to your business. And whether you buy it or I don't suggest partnering with somebody, but there's a lot of bolt-on businesses. Like, I was in the shoe business, but I never sold women's clothing. I never sold jewelry. I did sell handbags, but those were all bolt-on businesses. And they became an integral part of our retail and internet business, bolt-ons. And every business has an opportunity for bolt-on. Like gas stations sell milk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've done that. We've done the same thing.
Yeah, I got to get a gallon of milk before I leave.
Okay. And this and some of the stuff here, I have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan where we want to go, and then I like to say, those if you're not doing something every day to get to those goals, then you have a goal. So we're always trying to strive to get there. We have, a vision. People don't necessarily come to work every day just for the check. There has to be some sense of purpose to what you're doing here, and we try to, make sure that we're providing that. I just want to talk Jerry, a little bit about one of the things that he helped with. We started about 2007, something like that, and it was in a higher recession, and it fell off the cliff.
I had black hair.
And one of the first things you told me, obviously, was to get your work too much in the business, work on the business, not in the business. And then you got to incentivize your employees. So we created various avenues for incentivizing them. So if I'm getting a piece, they're getting a piece. They have a little more ownership. And that's really, that's when we really started taking off, is when we started adapting more of that stuff. So we are always trying to find avenues to incentivize them more. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, the incentives is a whole new, another podcast along with culture. But the things that I've learned and that were taught to me, once you got these employees up and going and they're incentivized, you have less turnover, more commitment, and they're entrepreneurial people just like you are. And they have the desire to get ahead and want to grow. And I have learned collectively more from the people that I was working for me, with me, etc., than I could actually teach them. Individually, I knew more than they did collectively as a group. But each individual, I learned how to pull their assets out of them, give them their head and let them grow that way, and that way I grew. And I also learned from my vendors. I learned from everybody, and I wasn't afraid to learn because I had everything to learn. And I knew a long time ago what I know got me here. What I don't know will get me there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, that's our first episode, and really what we're trying to do here is just to give, these are things that I had to deal with for the last 18 years, and Jerry's helped me along the way to a lot of that, and we wanted to give, folks are out there thinking about doing this, if that's something I want to do, and is that, to give you some realistic on the ground, hey, this is what we do, feel for that. So that is episode 1. The next episode. Go ahead.
Because, I remember, no. But I think we should talk about, in the structure of it, culture and such.
Okay. You want to talk about...
That's a meeting within itself.
Okay. All right. I was going to talk about in the next meeting, reasons for businesses fail. But we can do whatever, Jerry. So we can talk about both of them, actually, if you want.
Well, it can be all encompassing, but a quick answer on that. Again, I don't like the word fail. Nothing to do with you, but I don't like the word fail. I was so happy when I had 2 heart attacks because it changed my life. I was so happy I was in the automotive business, which was not a good business for me, painting automobiles, selling cars, and fixing them up and selling them autos. And a year and a half later, I'm bankrupt, going to the bankruptcy lawyer. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Again, you learn one door closes, another door opens. So I never liked the word failure. It just doesn't, it has such a fear and a negative connotation to it because every time tomorrow we're going to do something that's not the way it should be done. That's human nature. So, I'm pretty old and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I've corrected more than I've made.
All right. Well, I guess next week we can talk about reasons businesses don't make it.
Have I talked about that?
Yeah. Well, you did no talking. You did no talking, so I know how it'd be just pretty boring for me to sit here and for Jacob, our producer here, to kind of sit here and listen to me talk.
Okay, because it's almost my nap.
Okay. All right. So Jacob is going to be putting some stuff on social media to get out there, so we can kind of get this out there, and hopefully we make it more than one episode. So until then,
Arrivederci.
take care.